Hey, 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 good morning. Aurelia Wynn checking in. For this morning's Writers Cafe, I want to specifically talk to those who are working on their book. Hey, 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 come on in. Who I want to talk to those who are working on their book, whether it be their first time writing and publishing a book or their second time, third, fourth, fifth time, whatever. My question today is, who are you writing for? Are you writing for yourself, or are you writing to share information or to entertain your audience? And the reason that I ask is because as a publisher, I get to read a lot of submissions. I get to read a lot of the first 30 pages of what otherwise would be amazing books. But if I don't know like who you're writing for in the first 30 pages, I just can't get down with that, right? Or I need to know that it's apparent later in the story. Like if it's a slow burn, then okay, say that, right? Maybe say that with a like a preface or an introduction or something, because you should kind of know, you should kind of have a feeling. And also another perspective on that is this, right? You can't be writing for yourself. Right? You can't be writing for yourself. You can't be writing for yourself if you want to reach readers. You can't be writing for yourself if you want to reach readers, because it's very apparent, right? And that's what I mean by, man, if I don't know that your writing is for me, the reader, then I have to assume, or at least my assumption, is that you're writing for yourself, and I'm not that interested. I'm not that really interested, because forgive me, but who are you? Like, I've never met you. I've never heard of you. I don't know what it is that you do, but you're sharing a story, and I'm not really sure who the story is for other than for yourself. Why do you write? Who are you writing for? Is it to get something off your chest? Because oftentimes those books are apparent, like, oh, this person is just blowing off steam, or they're just recounting a story that they have lived through. And that's fine. And there are places for those kinds of stories. If you are looking to be like an advocate of some sort of cause and you're sharing your story as a survival guide, it needs to be about others, right? Like, what's going to be the lesson that they learn from reading your book, from reading your story? Are they going to learn how to overcome something? Are they going to, like, what are they going to get from it? What's going to be the value? How are we going to price this? The pricing has to make sense, not only with what's comparable in the market, but what's the added value? Again, who are you writing for? Are you writing for yourself, or are you writing for your readers? And if you're writing for your readers, it would really help you to like do some research and understand who is it that reads the type of books that you want to write. Who are the people that read memoirs? Who are the people that read self-help books? A lot of times they're needing something, right? I read a lot of self-help books because I need some help, right? Okay, I do. And I'm often annoyed when I'm reading self-help books and it's all about the writer, and I'm just like, well, when are we going to get to some tips for me as far as like, what should I do? Or is this just a story about the person who written the book? And if that's the case, that's cool. I might return it because I'm not that interested, right? I purchased the book to get help. I didn't purchase the book to learn more about the person who wrote the book. And so I just wanted to share that today with you all, to be conscious of who you're writing for. Absolutely just write. Okay. And I know you've heard me say this before. If you've been rocking with me for a little while, or for a while, you've heard me say that it's important to just write now and to think later. Right now, think later. And so after you get your writing done, I then want you to ask yourself, who is this book for? Honestly, what did you just write? Were you writing, like, what can you add to it? If you were just writing to write, and obviously I'm talking about like fiction and nonfiction. This isn't like a cookbook. This isn't even talking about children's books, because in those cases, that is more like obvious. I feel like that's more obvious. If you're writing a children's book, you're talking to children. A lot of times you're trying to teach them something, or you're subliminally trying to teach the parent something, right? And so that's obvious. A cookbook is obvious. You're trying to share recipes to teach somebody how to cook. So those things are obvious. A poetry book, you might not be trying to teach anything. Your purpose might, however, poetry books that can evoke an emotion in the reader does so much better than just a poetry book that is just no theme, just all over the place, right? And so I'm specifically talking about fiction and nonfiction books, right? Where your audience might not be that apparent, but they could be. Maybe initially they're not that apparent, but with a little bit of research, spend some time, yeah. And so that's why I say authors should not put out books so quickly, because you need to do some checks. You need to do some checks. And what's one of those checks? One of those checks is, who are you writing for? Look at your work and be honest. Who did I write this for? Did I write this for myself? Did I write this for my ego? Am I putting myself on a pedestal? And if so, what's the purpose of that? What do I want people to know about me? Do I want people to know that I'm grand? And if so, that's cool. But a lot of times, hey girl, a lot of times books that are written about people, like about where writers are just writing about themselves with no real like substance. Like, what am I learning from this? What is the reader, right? What is the reader getting from it? Are they just getting a story of you? And then again, I would ask, who the heck are you? Like, why is it important that I know about your story? And if there's a reason, then let us know. Okay, then let us know. Because if you're just an average Joe, most of us are average Joes, you know what I'm saying? And that's cool. And maybe you might be on the come up. I know I'm on the come up. Y'all better get to know Miss Wynn. But I'm not dropping a memoir or anything like that. I think for me, it's important that I provide value to my readers. And so when I'm writing, I think about my readers first. Okay, I think about, the people that purchase my books, they are needing something. And they will get that from reading my book. And in return, what will I get? I will get gratitude. And that's good enough for me, baby, right? And so you've got to have some understanding, a little bit of yourself and a little bit of your readers and what their needs are. Because at the end of the day, you might not think so. You might think just a book is just good for writing and you don't got to do much else. I wish it was that simple, right? If that's the case, get you a journal. If you just want to write just to be writing stuff, write about your day, get you a journal, baby, and call it a day. But if you're interested in writing a book, you have to think about who your audience is, right? Because then that generates into who your target audience is. That makes marketing your book that much easier when you can get the writing done. And then your very next step could be thinking about, okay, who is this for? And if it's for them, did I did I meet that target? Are these people going to benefit from reading my book? Yeah, let's do a cookbook, girl. Let's do it. Let's do it. I was just talking about that earlier. Like, cookbooks, obviously, you know that your reader is someone who either likes to cook or wants to learn how to cook. And I'm both, honey. Look, I know how to cook a solid, I ain't even going front. I know how to cook like a solid 10 meals, baby, okay? And I'm confident in those 10 meals. I don't even know how many meals I know how to cook, but probably I could confidently say a solid 10. And so I love when I get a chance to, I was working on a cookbook actually, this weekend, and it was pretty good. I was like, okay, this wasn't for me, cause your girl, I likes to get down. I'm a meat eater for sure. And so, but I do love just a good mix of everything. We love a good staple. Yeah, girl. Okay. I can rely on my staple items and know that I can't go wrong with those 10. But for cookbooks, your reader is evident. And so you can't go wrong with a cookbook. It's the other genres where you can totally miss the target. And a lot of times writers who are writing in other areas miss the target because there's a little hint of selfishness. And so if you're writing from a place of selfishness, and I know that's like a hard pill to swallow or even a hard thing to hear, is I'm selfish. I'm not saying, well, am I saying you're selfish? Maybe a little bit, but that's something for you to wrestle with, not for me to wrestle with. And so, I mean, it's attached to why are you writing or who are you writing for? Are you writing for yourself? If so, that's selfish. If you look at your story and you see that it's more so me and I, and you could do a go into the computer program that you're using to write your book and look up how many times you use the word me, how many times you use the word I, and compare it with how many times you use the word you and how many times you use the word us. It will be evident who you have written the book for. If you're not using key indicators like you, us, we, that means that you're talking about somebody other than you, yourself, the writer, then you've got to go back. And a lot of times that comes out with editing, right? And if you have a good editor, if you have a team of editors, they should be able to point that out. Or they might not. They might just be interested in correcting your stuff. It says I actually wrote a book of poems and published it back in the day. At the time, I thought it was everything. Yeah, girl. That's okay. See, and I talked about that earlier too, right? Poetry. A lot of the poetry books that do well are the ones that like have a theme or have some purpose or are like valuable to the reader or like providing something, some substance, some help, some entertainment to the reader. Otherwise, yeah, girl, it could just stay in a journal. And I don't know if I've ever read any poetry thus far. I've worked on quite a few poetry books, and I do not know. I'd have to think about it if I've come across anywhere I thought they could have just kept this to themselves. I don't think so. And so it's definitely a craft. It's definitely a skill, but that's okay. And that's something that I've shared before is like, when you're doing something, the first runoff is not going to be, I mean, I don't know. A lot of times people who just do something for the first time, it's not the best. It's not the greatest. Unless you're just like Kanye, where you pop out and it's just amazing I'm talking about old school Kanye, right? But it's very rare for people to just pop out and their first be their best. A lot of times we progress. And those beginnings, they lead, they're just stepping stones to greater, right? And so your first book might not be your best. Your second book might not be your best. Hell, your fifth book might not be your best. But you're getting better every time. You're progressing, right? Yeah. Right. So we're progressing, and that's the mission, that's the focus, is to progress, to just keep progressing. I mean, obviously we can't be perfect, but we can be better. Okay, we can be better. We can evaluate and we can say, I didn't really like how I did this here. My goal is, personally, for me, my goal is I'm trying to be like the next Stephen Covey, and I don't even know if that's how you say his name, but this man has sold 40 million copies of one book. Okay, I'm trying to get a book where I've done sold 40 million copies of it. And what does that mean? That means I need to keep writing and I need to keep putting out books, because I'm going to mess up somewhere and I'm going to learn from it. And I'm going to be okay with that. And we've got to be okay with our mistakes. We've got to be okay with our imperfections. We've got to be okay with our inadequacies. And that's even something that I've learned more recently is, girl, I ain't superwoman. I'm not superwoman. And I know I present a lot of things online, but your girl is not perfect. I am a progress. I am progressing. I am learning. I am taking this journey. And each day is a new day for me to discover. And it can be scary, but man, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of learning and growing being done. And so that's all I had for this morning. My coffee is ready for me to drink it. But I want you to think about that. After you get done writing, your very next step is, now, who did I write this for? Did I write this to just get some stuff off my chest? If so, that's not a book. That's just a journal, baby. God ain't telling you to publish that. Maybe he's just telling you to get that off your chest, okay? And that's okay. But if you think that it should be a book, if you swear that this is a book, you need to consider who your audience is. If you do not, you can almost guarantee that your book will not sell, because if it wasn't written with the intention of providing something to someone, it ain't gonna do it. It ain't gonna do it. Nobody's gonna get it. They're not gonna get it. You're gonna be the only one that gets it, because it was for you. And so that's all. I'm gonna go have my coffee now. I hope you all have a good day. I'm gonna be back on here tonight at 7 p.m. Central with the author queen. She's also an author publisher out in Atlanta, and so we'll be talking to y'all tonight. Otherwise, yeah, girl, let's talk about your cookbook. I'd love to hear more. Bye. Have a good day.